And talk of that, this is one of those maps where Wada has beaten Shopify before. The most recent, in fact, when they played in that upper final, they won this one in overtime. And that win came despite Dodo putting up 27 kills. Still, if you're Shopify, you're looking back at that map critically. You're trying to see what you can do better here. And something that was always successful for them on their attacking side was pushing this chamber off of these early lines and having a lot of success embedding lurks up into mid. But in this pistol round, it looks like it might just be a little bit quicker. All 5 members postured towards C.
Yep, Paranoia ready to go in Juna's hands.
Ooh, there's going to be a door open from the chamber, swing through, and they'll have a TP gate to be able to still get out of that play. That's a very nice setup.
This is all assuming that Shopify Rebellion actually made any information on the C side. Already Juna's actually left the space. The Prowler over towards Rubble was enough to make that happen. Shopify Rebellion really think, I believe they think someone's creeping all the way through C long and going for a flank. That's something we saw Wada do a few times on the previous time they matched up. For this round, it's literally just been jump peeking from Astralis, and now seeing the Prowler on this side of the map is a pretty good indicator that more Shopify players are here.
Still that door open available, but with Paranoia, maybe a little late. I don't think the Omen's going to rotate in time. Maybe now a chance. Here she comes.
Yeah, wall comes out from Astralis. Paranoia in now too, but it seems a little bid delayed. No one actually fighting off that, but the door is opening as that smoke is going down. 2 kills for Juna. Falling away from the line now is all of a sudden a teleport over. Wada instantly reacting to this one. Juna still low, but it's Wada with a numbers advantage. Looks like the spike will be planted. Noya's gonna sell out her teammate for a moment though. Repositioning onto the lower line. They want to take this fight into Waterfall. Only 2 players here from Wada. This is the way back into the round. Good opener from Mel, but isn't ready for the next player coming around the corner. Starbound now creeping and waiting for Mel. That's going to be the first kill. Noya gets 1, but it's Wada with a 3rd pistol round in a row.
Yeah, Wada do end up falling away from that initial trap play. But I love what they do with this chamber. From that TP position in the corner waterfall, Starbound can be contesting out onto Mound, can be postured up in B, or can do that door open play that we ended up seeing. All of that was cool, but the true hero of the round was Juna, just running out of waterfall, getting those 2 kills. And Juna, I think, has been a player that sometimes gets forgotten about in talking about this team, but at least in this final, in a lot of those swing rounds, she has been having her impact, especially now to win Wada their 3rd pistol in a row after starting the series 0-4.
Oh yeah, she's been showing up as a side anchor in the last couple of maps for sure. They're throwing the support, getting the kills too. It was all coming together. And it's on a different role, right? You know, she plays a lot of the Sentinel as a secondary, but when the deadlock's here on Lotus for Astralis, things get mixed up a little bit in the Wada camp. And it's her on that Omen.
Very slow round for Shopify. Take space in a rubble and just wait for any re-aggression from Wada. They love calling these super slow rounds with the Viper. You can always be threatening the walk-ups.
Yeah, you'll see this a lot. Femboy doesn't play a lot of forward angles on this map especially. That's going to be all up to Starbound. Oh dear. Oh no, we're tripped up on the rope. Don't know how that happened, but it's gonna hurt.
It looked like they were
big time.
stuck in a water wheel, tumbling up and down on that rope, and now Juna's trying to make a hero play. Into the site alone for 1. Damage onto her and a bit of space, but this Molly barely gives her a gap to get out.
Yeah, teammates have come in here. 14 HP though on a Spectre. You're not killing anyone quick enough to be effective on that amount of HP. It's gonna come down to Astralis and Starbound. Now with the Paranoia, pushing these players a little bit further back, tapping the spike, getting that pressure activated. 1 kill for Astralis. 3-on-3 now, as Astralis just posts up and keeps on knocking them down. Good work from Starbound too, and even though it's dodgy at the start, Wada come out of it on top.
It's just a 3v5 straight up retake, all about Astralis there. That smoke over towards door and over towards tree completely ruins Shopify's day, having to try and run through that 1-by-1. Just get eaten up by the Spectre. Nearly got out of hand, but got it out right the ship and, well, have at least something for this bonus round, but it's not a fantastic buy.
Yeah, I think better than we saw from them on the last map where they, did so poorly on round 2 and then forced onto an eco. This time, not going to let that happen. Making sure they can save up for what they need. And again, it does seem like Starbound is loving this front B angle. That teleport, giving the quick TP back into water in case there's an acceleration over onto C. This time, we're not quite ready for that jumping.
Part of what that TP means is that you can a lot more safely play solo anchor C setups because you're going to have such a quick rotation from that chamber TPing up. And because of that, you can have a strong C site hold even if you're like 3 stacking into A. And that's something you can only do with chamber.
Yep. It's very effective. Especially with how well Starbound and Astralis play with each other. Effectively stalling out the first 40 seconds of this round. Shopify have still left the spike back in their own spawn, trying to get a forward lurk, maybe going for Mel on the A side, couple of players hanging out on C, but still no real position anywhere to keep on moving through, just trying to commit and sell this fake while that spike ends up moving over into Mel, who has maybe even heard a couple of players toying with that rotate away.
It's a very chill setup from Wada, just the 2-1-2. Now they're going to call some rotates into A. Paranoia goes out towards tree room, but I don't even think Shopify wants to finish here. They're pivoting late back into B, and this is a great call. No one's home for Wada, but is there a nade combo? No, not going to be online here, so the plant should come down okay.
Yep, easy plant. Shopify did this so often in their last face-off on Lotus, those late B pivots, and always leaving some amount of pressure over into rubble. Mel is there, gets 1 kill, but will be traded through. Now Dodo Nut taking this opportunity to slip up into grass. This is a brilliant position. 1 kill, another on the site. A good little satchel. Does mean that Shopify are up in numbers. Power Pixel in a 1-on-3. Nowhere really to go. Players on both sides, main and water. Planted well for those 2 angles. Power Pixel now sees the first player. It's a bit of a foregone conclusion, a 3K for Sarah to close up the round.
Compared to some of Wada's other maps, they're a lot more consistent with their defensive setup here. It's almost always going to be the deadlock anchoring C, that same chamber TP, and then the Omen solo over towards B as well. And because of that, Shopify almost every round, you're going to see them putting some element of pressure on B main, trying to get Starbound to go into that TP, and then calling back into whatever they actually want to do. See again here, it's the same TP, but this time the chamber actually going to post up on Mound, this time with an op in hand.
Yeah, first look at that going on to the C line. I wonder how comfortable Shopify will end up being if they don't see a chamber in front B. Well, they're going to have to do their due diligence as they clear back into C. Assuming Dodo can get the cross here, that means a relatively simple open the door with a Paranoia, something like this. You can force that teleport back.
Even just the cat will do. Starbound fully falls off the line, but another layer to that same TP. They're going to be able to sit on site and have a really deep op angle.
Mel's placed a pretty high premium on calling to make sure that all this utility has been broken front B. We've seen deadlock sensors. We've seen that chamber trip pretty consistently.
Juna.
Oh, Juna's been so good. Absolute heater the last 2 maps.
Literally just swings into B main, destroys Noya, and now that'll force Shopify to excel into the A site.
Yeah, only 4
the
alive
TP
here. Teleport up from Mel. Let's see what she can do. That tether. Femboy didn't hear a thing. Good on Power Pixel to be there to trade it out. That means the Nightfall unlocked. That's all 3 players tagged up. Wada have to know someone's back here in pit. Come on now. 2 more players coming around the corner. Dodo Nut is crisp with it. Sees a couple of heads, takes them right off. And that'll be Starbound. Pushed away once again. The operator in hand, and this round lost.
Shopify's attack side on this map is so formulaic, and I say that in a good way. They're incredibly thorough at, okay, check mark, chamber is off the angle, had to use that first TP. Check mark, the trip over towards B is gone. Then we can actually go into what we want to do. And you mentioned it, pretty much every round that has been walking back into A because of this Viper wall. So what I'd like to see from Wada into this next round is to maybe change where this chamber is playing. Try and either go for an early A fight or just test through that Viper wall. with Chamber, you can take those risks, be able to TP out and try and hold on to that space a little bit more.
Disrespect it a little bit. Get in front of that utility. Not be so concerned about the decay coming on in. I like this idea of a sort of checklist protocol for Shopify Rebellion. They have those different things that they have to clear before the round opens up for them.
There is that pivot.
It'll be the op over towards A. But again, first things first for Shopify, it's Prowler on through. Okay, no one actually cleared up into the space. We have the permanent threat of an insert here.
They say they see no chamber here. I wonder if they think it's a lighter setup on C because of it.
Well, they're thinking for sure it could be front B. We've seen that a lot.
Yeah.
Or very likely over into A. Either way, they're going to take their time with it, and even just the threat of this Viper Wall going up makes it a lot harder for Starbound to play this side of the map.
Smoked off for now. They'll back up to a more passive angle.
Yeah, even a second smoke there to say, hey, a player could have crossed over into grass, over towards Baby Door.
But because of that setup still over towards A, Wada's comfortable playing retake. They're going to stick to the C stack, and that's exactly what Shopify's going into.
Thing is, Juna did not buy a Paranoia this time. There's still 4 players here. There's still deadlock utility, but not that checkmate ability.
They're
canceling. TP's into the corner, and hearing all those players, it's time to get out of dodge.
So now the fight for this round comes down to Starbound up against Sarah on the lurk. When does she choose to go? Perfectly timed from Sarah. Good night to the Opper. A's open for business.
And now Noya hears all 4 little pairs of feet running away from the seaside. It's time to activate on that lurk. Those slow lurks. It's been a while. Last map we didn't really see it, but on Haven, Noya was consistently that backstab. And it will be no different this time around. The rest of her teammates playing very forward on that Heaven line. Noya takes her time with it. Maybe could have taken a little bit more time, but now she's got 3 people turning around for her, and it's not going to matter. 4 players, line them up.
Christy, she whiffs that first shot and then hits 3 perfect headshots, including on the jumping player. Okay,
I think
just
she needed more bullets. Why don't ya? She needed more bullets on the first player than the next 3 combined.
Yeah. Oh, that was beautiful. Even earlier in that round, this lurk kill was so good from Sarah. Finds a perfect timing onto Starbound's off, and of course the second layer is there. Shopify.
Yeah.
Mel has such a blessing to have both Noya and Sarah as lurkers for her on this map. You can just call into either of those players. You're always going to have a late round backstab. It's such a resource to a leader.
I would be radiant if I got to play with Sarah and Noya every game. Like, come on. That would be so free.
I'm pretty sure people would call that boosting, but
hey, you know, if
it
works, it works. All right, eyes back onto Starbound in Bend here, as that lockdown will come into play. I think Starbound's going to stick around. There's a teleport that would get them out of dodge. We need to pop that with at least a second left on the clock. And Juna creeping in front B. How good is she? Just so consistently.
What happened with Starbound?
Yep.
Oh, doesn't make it out. And now the beautiful kill from Juna is nullified. It's a post plant. And Christy, they have the showstopper, a nade. So many tools to try and close out this round.
Yeah, well, Wada do have deadlock ult themselves. There's options to get back on site. How can they actually make this happen? Showstopper now popped early from Dodonut. You pop that, you sit on that, that's 10 seconds. Where Wada can't really play the game. They've got to freeze. They're too scared about losing a player. Now that it's gone, though, it's time to get moving. Here come the satchels. Femboy finds their first. And more players closing in on the position. They've downloaded Alexis's spot. That's going to be another player removed, but this offsite post plant. Clock starting to wind down. That player shot down. Noya good for 2, and the round.
What a well-balanced post plant for SR. Leave Dodo as a sacrifice. She single-handedly practically grabs 20 seconds off of that timer, plus the 10 seconds from the lockdown. And then guess what? The 2 players offside only have to kill 1 diffuser, and the round is won. Shopify make it look simple and force a timeout now out of Wada. If this was anything like the first 2 maps and Shopify had won the pistol, this would be a 6-0 game right now. They have yet to lose with the guns.
Bit of a blunder there from Starbound. Really wanted to stick around inside the lockdown and get a kill before teleporting away, but couldn't get the crossover. I thought they had a pocket to play with back towards spawn, but thought better of it at last second. So it'll be their timeout coming in now. An eco round for them, even though they do have ultimates to play with.
And thinking about this timeout, the biggest issue seems to be these late round pivots. Maybe you try and think of ideas of how to flush out these lurks, go for re-clears towards maybe rubble or mound in the mid round. But even then, Shopify do such a good job of picking those moments that they're actually getting these lurks up. So there is really no like easy way to punish one of those lurkers, especially with how much they're changing up the timings at which they're activating.
It's a fun map for Sarah, isn't it? Because so often she's just stuck on, Sova duty. Or it would have been Tejo or something. But on this map, she gets to play the Viper. Gets to look for some of those opportunities herself. And flex around between her and the other lurkers, too. Now, of course, she's got an Outlaw in her hands. Because why not? She's going to be embedded over towards Rebel, left on her own little island to catch players rotating away from the site.
There is a paranoia being held inside Tree Room if that door gets open. I think Sarah's just going to be happy to get this in bed, chill out for the moment. Dodges out on the Prowler, just an attempt at a re-clear from Wada, but hello, Sarah's there. 1 for 1, not a bad outcome. Femboy will be happy to pick up the Sheriff and get an Outlaw for their teammate.
I'm still kind of impressed with hitting the double headshot with the classic there from that range. Out of Femboy. Nice stuff. This looks like Shopify trying to make the idea in Wadada's heads that it will be a B split. Showing so much with Alexis in front B, but I know better, and I think it's going to be moving back over towards A. Double satchel into the site. Noya capitalizes off of that, and that allows Alexis to be the late backstab instead.
30 seconds left.
A rarity for her.
No, creeps up into heaven now. Post on the forward line, no support, but Dodo will be back over and drop. Hold on, that's a shotgun kill. And Alexis has chosen not to go for the flank, but to regroup with the team while Showstopper is pulled. Wadada are trying to win this round. They're throwing ultimates into this one. And now cleared away the site. No one over in Tree Room. Dodonut still on site. No one's cleared this. No one's ready for it. That ultimate catches her at exactly the right moment. And now Alexis is in, but yeah, as you say, it's a Thrifty round. It's a full defuse. Shopify Rebellion dropped the ball.
That is crazy. That Wadada managed to win that round. Mel gets aggressive towards heaven, dies to the Bucky, and that gives the showstopper.
Yep.
Which gives inroads for Wadada.
Can't let that happen.
Really tough round for Shopify to lose there. I think you can't help but feel that it was a bit of a mistake for Mel. He's so far up there in retrospect. Normally, you're going to be able to get out of there scot-free, but just a perfect range for the right-click Bucky. And now Wadada have their first win against a gun round from Shopify, and we'll be able to get another buy up here, posting the op towards
high
A
post from
this time.
Starbound. You can see over that wall as it blooms down. That shot comes in. First kill again to Wadada.
That's what I was looking for, right? Contest past that wall. Take advantage of what that chamber can do. It's a great start.
And that would have been a nightfall for the site hit. Off by Rebellion. Now without that tool, got a site-crushing ultimate. Have to clear away Femboy somehow. Dinks through the box. Is going to assist on that front, but Shopify Rebellion trying to get Dodonut all up. Noya has worked into
They've
siege.
walked
The
into
ultimate
siege.
goes on the other side.
And look where Dodo is. These double lurks yet again. Dodo can be killer from this position.
Here's the footsteps. That's 3 pairs rotating away. High spot for Mel on the other side. Dodo's been told to take her time, but that might come back to bite Shopify Rebellion.
Mel's alone.
It's time to get going. Finally, Sarah will join into the fight. First shot is good for Mel. And a rat smoke on site just to buy some pressure, buy some space. Mel's good for another. And now with the pit to dance around inside of as well. That spike is planted for off of sight. And no one's on this spike just yet. Finally, someone turning around for Dodo. And will be dealt with. Starbound gets it back on. Half stick on the defuse. We're just going all the way through it. It doesn't matter that Mel gets 3 kills. Wadada have found themselves another.
I don't know if a footstep was made on the flank there. I didn't catch it. But that is so thorough from Starbound to turn around at that point in the round and punish the Rays there. If Dodo gets the kill onto Starbound, round is over 100%. That was nearly another one of these Mel Masterclass rounds that would have come despite that excellent opening pick on the offense.
One enemy remaining.
Neither lurker getting anything. Comes back to bite them. It'll still be a buy here. Double op setup from Wada. Chamber op for Starbound. Astralis has another one. And that's one way of punishing the slow, methodical attack play that Mel likes to call.
And if I'm being honest, Christy, already 4 rounds on defense is not bad. If they can get 1, 2 more here, Wada would be happy, but Dodo catches a really early pick there for Shopify.
Yeah.
Haven't had an advantage like this in a while.
First time seeing Juna drop in that spot or anywhere around B. She's been lights out. Was the deadlock wall put on front B now, though, so Shopify, while aiming for a B split later, going to wait out that wall. Can't fall to Astralis' op, though. That would just blow this whole round apart. Scouting above, doesn't find anything. Fire really starting to work the clock down. And as this door opens, it is trouble. Power Pixel, that's going to be the first. Now forces the rest of Shopify to move back towards B, but the spike still has to get out of here, and Power Pixel is putting down some covering fire. Door is broken, again, that B side's open.
It's just perfect timing on the lurks from Shopify. They wait out the 35 seconds for the deadlock wall, get into B, but Wada, they've been really good on these retakes in this game thus far. The first job is to deal with Mel.
How do you get in with 2 operators? It just doesn't seem realistic, especially not now, with Mel finding that. A problem here that won't be dealt with for a long time. A bit of a scouting TP on the jump peak. And just sitting here, being a nuisance consistently. Wada decided to send Femboy into the site basically on their own. And that's a Spectre as well. I mean, this buy is just tragic. Trying to retake B site, the close corridor situation. And, well, trading 1 for 1 just won't get the job done. Astralis is going to listen to that timer run on out and just barely try to save this operator, if that's even possible.
Dodo's going to try and hunt for it maybe here. No, instead just tucks in and lets the timer tick down to 0 as, again, Shopify get away with murder on these lurks. The only reason they lost that previous round was that their lurkers did not get kills in the perfectly set up positions they were in. Even through the rounds they lost, the macro has just been on point for Shopify all game.
It's been really nice. It is so often, though, the finish into the B site. And I feel like this is something that Wada had to have been aware of. They were literally on the receiving end of it the last time they played Shopify on this map. They haven't been fixing that B site in the late rounds. Early shot, not going to connect onto anything, but 4 players here ready to receive the exec if the Nightfall is called in from Shopify.
Shopify does love hitting into the chamber site. They're going to try it here.
Here it is, that Prowler forcing Starbound all the way back, but Shopify are not continuing in. And you can see Wada instantly reacting. They know exactly what Mel is trying to call here.
But they're going to be too late on the rotate. Already Sarah has made it out onto A. Mel TP's over to help, but they're going to be about in pace. The spike will not come down for free.
Sarah trying to get active, but already scouted out. Played up here too often. Sarah, that's 1, but not enough bullets. Dodo now entering the picture and getting up onto the zip line. I mean, what is happening? Shopify Rebellion just don't stop moving forward, and they net themselves around.
Sarah only goes 1 for 1 there, but she does her job perfectly. Gets far enough ahead, trailblazes that space, and then holds it open for just long enough for the rest of Shopify to arrive and win out in that chaotic team fight. You can see the gears turning. Wada, they know that these pivots are coming. They hear that cancel. Instantly, it's a full rotate coming through. But unfortunately, just did not quite have the weapons in what turned into a super chaotic team fight.
Yeah, I'm honestly a bit disappointed. Power Pixel had the Nightfall, but tried to get out there and fight early. Similar look here. Early fight from Starbound. Again, forced to teleport away, but they've left an Omen over in the corner. Nobody's looking at Juna. They have absolutely no idea that someone could be here. Wada have never done anything like this, and Juna is taking her time. 1 kill. Actually sells her position out, and now needs to teleport away. 30 HP, and a prayer just barely gets away.
But that's Mel dead. No smokes means a late round hit is going to be all the more difficult.
Showstopper. It's time to go. It's time to get into this site. Slow is popped, and that really stalls out Dodo's chances of moving forward here. That showstopper's not going to find anything, and Dodo Nut is not going to hear that there will be this flank coming in.
Nightfall's pretty early. There's no follow-up for that, and with the Omen still stuck behind this turret, it has to come down to the 4 players on the site.
Alarm bot in water. Wada, how do we find our angle? So much utility to stall it out. Starbound just takes the angle, gets the op shot, now posts up onto Baby Door. Juna's position has been revealed. Noya is waiting for it, but it doesn't matter. Wada just went everywhere. All right.
Juna is such a beast in B main, either side of the map.
Save the day.
That is so nice from her. Picks the perfect timing to swing in, kills Noya, and that all comes in conjunction. The Shopify Rebellion Core, they have like a 2-year lead. Shopify, you know, Mel and Alexis even longer than that. But still, Wada showing us some great coordination. They looked so nice in this team fight, and even throwing in the little mix-up with this off-angle play for Juna. That's now going to force Shopify to think about that angle every time they head towards C for the rest of this half.
And let's not forget how hopeless this series looked back during map 1, 13-4.
It was a
map
roll.
2, Haven, 13-6. Wada looked like they were outclassed on every single front, but after Sunset, and now with a chance to go into the second half of Lotus even, there is a chance. It would start with Starbound here. Sees the player, doesn't connect on the shot. Again, Juna is here, and I wouldn't have thought it was going to be the case, but Juna has been an absolute hero for this team today. An assassin in and out with murder.
That's incredible. Double TPs to escape. Now, Wada 5v4 on the retake, and look how aware they are of these lurks. Power Pixel is waiting so long for Sarah, but does she wait long enough to get the punish? Oh, they will. Shot found. Down goes the lurker.
And now Power Pixel could pop that door, threaten a flank, so what does Dodo Nut do? Gets active into Waterfall. Pivots back towards spawn. Here's 3 players coming in onto the angle. Is completely ready for Wada on the retake. Satchel not going to get it done, and out on the wide swing, it's Dodo with 3, and Noya to capitalize as well. Power Pixel now with position revealed, 2 players all around them. Gets the first, down to 3 HP. And that clock is starting to tick away. Time is starting to be a bit of a problem here with 1 bullet in the chamber. Power Pixel has to go on the hunt, and it'll be Noya to take the lead at the half.
Dodo sat through every single final last year. On teams before that, on TSM, against Mel and Alexis, she suffered in so many GC Grand Finals. Has never won a trophy, despite making so many appearances. But now switching over, teaming up with Mel and Alexis, joining this Shopify super team, and showing up on her best agent here. Her 3 kills in this round completely change the tide and give Shopify the lead, now heading in to their defensive side.
Another moment for Wada to reset. They know how much is stacked up against them. We're trailing 0-2, would need a reverse sweep, would need another pistol here. Gonna be aware that Shopify have taken some forward space. Ready on the fight. Door open. Paranoia out. Utility traded back and forth. But it's Power Pixel to find the first shot. And a great little jump up for a little bit extra on that as well. Sarah gets 2, but not before Wada have been able to recover the spike and start moving back in towards Mel. Mel down to 55 HP with a flank miles away. What is she going to be able to find? A dink could be enough to secure this round. Spike is being stuck through. And Wada are so low. They know how hard this is going to be. Now that Mel and Noya have teamed up. An execution. And it's just over. Mel gets another on the round. And extends this lead.
They lost both pistols on the last map. Lost the first pistol here on Lotus as well. But Mel steps up big time to keep Shopify in control of this map. I love how patient she was with her play around this site. Gets out of this chaotic fight. Tucks in, isolates both those fights so well to buy time for her teammate to arrive.
Look, I don't know if I was just clueless or if this truly came out of nowhere. Mel is just top fragging. All of a sudden, 15-8 on the game, up there with Dodo. come out strong in the last few rounds and in that pistol. It's interesting to see that Power Pixel's actually gone for Marshall this round, and it's effective on the attack side of all things. A kill and a big tag into Mel.
Mel's going to try and scamper away with Sarah's gun, manages to pick it up and juggle it back so that won't fall into the wrong hands. But still, she's weak on this C site. Doesn't think Wada will convert this into a hit. Finally, one rotate being called over. And she's right. Wada's leaving. They'll double back and re-clear space elsewhere.
You know, as much as we've praised Starbound throughout the series for Juna stepping up and just being the champion of the B site this game, it has been Power Pixel in a couple of back-to-back games being so clutch for Wada. And now with a bit of a gambly bye, has opened up an avenue to get back into the round. They're going to be lurking into A while the rest of the team works on C. And Mel, while top site, is very, very low. That earlier shot has laid the groundwork for Wada to find this, and that is exactly it. Power Pixel falls on the other side, a sacrifice, but they have the plan.
It's a 3v5 retake, and look at the guns. A
Ew.
Judge on Noya, an Outlaw on Dodo. Those are not the tools you want to retake. Seasonade, though. The combo
we're alive?
is perfect, but it's just to the left, and Femboy lives to fight another day, now with the Raze Rocket online.
And there's an awkward deadlock wall on site. I mean, it's uncomfortable for Shopify. It's uncomfortable for this team to even find an angle back in. They're really taking with their time with it. Alexis is going to be there for the first. And now that showstopper finds its mark. Wada have done it. A Thrifty round 2 opened up by Power Pixel and finished by Femboy.
This series has been about Mel out-calling Wada, but in this round, they make such a good decision. Feign like they're going to cancel and go elsewhere. That's exactly what Mel expected. But send this incredibly late re-hit, punish Mel alone on this site, and thanks to a very strong performance in the first 2 rounds, Femboy has that ult online. They were the hero in the last map, had a much slower start to this one, but now all the key pieces starting to come online for Wada.
These eco rounds, it doesn't matter which team, have never been simple, have never been obvious. There's so much talent in the server that there's always some upset potential, even on the light buys. So far, Shopify Rebellion, they've gotten this forward posting on top of Root. That could be a tough one for Starbound to re-clear into. Saw the kneecap, though, and that's going to take out just about everything else Dodo had.
Prowler puts pressure towards C, door goes open. SR think that this is going to be a finish towards C. They're pivoting over that way. Be ready for a B hit as well.
Yeah, it does make sense, because I think C and B hits feel really nice when you have both the C's and the deadlock crouch and the paint shells. There's so much good utility combos on sites where there's not a lot of places to hide. You're asking why is the spike C while the rest of the team is A? Yeah, I'm asking the same thing and we're walking out down B. What is going on here? Good thing Power Pixel's there. But still, this is messy, messy, messy. 2-1 in favor of Wada. They're going to be able to regroup, but what was that?
Look at the X's on the map. It looks like a Revolutionary War line battle. Now a 2v1. Noya with a chance. A sheriff in her hands and contacting her way out onto site. The players from Wada are completely alone.
Oh, Noya. Oh, Noya. How have we made it in here? Well, we're looking the wrong way. It'll be Juna. Of course it is. Mimi, Wada are within 1.
That is crazy to think. The eco round win into nearly getting ecoed themselves, but put off in the end. This was just such a weird round state. Femboy satcheling around, desperately trying to stay alive. Just to end in a 2v1 that comes down to a pretty lucky timing.
Now, the thing is, when these teams played on Lotus before, when Wada won in overtime, there were a lot of these funky eco rounds. And it was a lot of, actually, Shopify losing them. Those slipping away. We saw that back in round 14. We saw it back in the first half as well. I thought with how this team opened up, it was going to be more locked in, more solid so far today. But they have got to tighten it up if they want to close this out in 4.
Very slow start for Wada. Wait for the smoke to dissipate. And now clear space towards Mound.
Yep. Again, make a lot of noise on this C side because Starbound has that outlaw position. Someone lazily rotates off of A towards C. That should be an easy pick.
No one's budging for Shopify, though. So they keep that 3-strong setup over towards A. Have the double stall on the C side as well. I just wanted to want to go. They're down to a minute on the clock, and they're going to send some troops back into this A site.
Yeah, I think just 5 players towards A. The Nightfall's there. It's a bit of a cheat code for hitting these sites on Lotus. Even if Shopify are trying to play up in tree, you know that Mel is going to be taken out by that. That is a whole lot of pressure. Counter paranoia, and that Viper wall goes up. Hold on. Mel can't find it, and Astralis just faces it, walks straight through the wall.
30 seconds
that pushes Alexis into backside. Trail on her. And that's going to, again, deny her angle after angle. Keep your eyes on Mel, too, who's crept up into stairs. That opens up options. This is getting a little bit crazy. It was Juna that got that pick. And Wada with a beautiful post plant.
I have no idea how Mel doesn't get any kills. It felt like the perfect lineup. 4 players illuminated in her face with the Odin, but she was just maybe 2 meters too far to the left. Has to reposition. And in that time, hold on. Oh yeah, still making a go here. 1v2.
Well, that's annoying. Well, that's more annoying. A double swing would be even worse. Yeah, okay. Power Pixel.
Made it look possible for a second. But not today for Noya. But yeah, Wada just overwhelmed. And you see the confidence has only grown for them through this series. I think you look back to map 1, and they looked a little timid. The shots weren't connecting. It wasn't that team that we saw take a map off Shopify in upper finals. Here you see Juna just running through smoke into spawn to get a pick. Astralis full facing, revealed by the Haunt into an Odin. Those 2 kills practically win the round. And now Shopify have to call a timeout.
Yeah, no money for them. Be a couple of sheriffs maybe, and a Nightfall. I'm thinking back onto that round and how unfortunate it was that the revolving door in tree was exactly at the halfway mark when the ping came out from Alexis's eye. Because all of a sudden that Odin, which should be able to spam that door, can't actually hit its mark. It's I think what chopped up Mel on the angle.
And Wada, they have not played a super active half thus far. They've been really slow, getting Starbound embedded over towards A pretty much every round here. And just winning on these late round executes. It's come down to 1 or 2 kills in every round, but it has been enough to keep Shopify on the back foot. Again, the economy is going to be crushed down to just sheriffs here. And Wada with a chance to take the lead in a map for the 2nd time this series.
Wada are going to be fanning across the map, trying to see if or where there's going to be any early aggression. And just put Starbound again to fight this line and catch jump peaks.
Here.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate timing.
Yeah, it doesn't quite get their opportunity the first time, and I don't think they're going to get another.
I'm thinking
used
about
as well.
Mound as well, where Mel and Noya
Yeah, look at this walk
all the way up. We're ready for it.
Oh, not another ego.
Okay. No one's really looking where they should be. It's a 1-for-1, and that rifle is not recoverable by any means for Noya. The satchel, yeah, that's not going to be very fun to deal with either. So Wada, that'll be in the C site for them, and maybe even some options for Power Pixel to snap off some of these rotates.
They'll finally all group up, go back into the A site. Shopify, they're realizing now that it is going to be an A finish. Or are they? Dodo.
They are. They're just doubling up in backside. It's
Yeah.
about fighting together here on the sheriff round. I mean, take 15 more
Nate's still
seconds. There's a
available.
Nightfall. Here we go. First util comes into the site. Good trade out of Dodo Nut. Into 25
Sarah
seconds.
has a gun up on the flank now. Dodo gets
Far
another.
away, you'd think. No. Dodo without the kill. Can't get the job done. But like you were saying, Sarah getting the rifle. Unfortunately for her, with that wall down, Starbound is fully ready for the angle and not going to allow any funny business any way back in.
So Wada streak together a good amount of rounds here. 4 off of winning that eco on round 14. Now, Shopify finally have guns back online, and I'm looking to see what they do out of this. Dodo's going to buy the operator, and that's going to give them a lot more options on this defensive side. They'll start a bit of a fight over towards A, and that's exactly where Wada is going as well. We might have a pretty quick brawl on Rubble.
Yep, the Lady Gaga strat over towards A. It is time to fight. Wada are primed and ready for it. Early utility, even throwing in the net this time, and a teleport over into the corner. That's a great angle for Juna to play with. Shots traded back and forth, and it'll still be continuing that trade 1-for-1. Smell tries to dip out of the territory, and Nightfall to stall this out and reset the round.
Well, it's 1-for-1 in the ults as well. The kidnap from deadlock doesn't hit. Nightfall will stall them out. But Wada doesn't have space anywhere else on the map, so here comes the walk-up. Noya is all the way through into attacker's spawn, and unfortunately for Wada, they are completely surrounded. The only way to break out would be to kill this flanker or pivot back into B, and, well, it seems to be a walk back towards Noya's territory.
Yeah, you got to at least clear close in your spawn here. But this box in is tough, especially down to 45 seconds. Peeking the angles together. They're taking it deliberate. They're taking it slow. But right here is what matters. Femboy on the wide swing will get the job done. And whether or not Starbound can get out of here would be everything. A quick teleport to the other side as Mel actually jumps in with the ulti of her own. 25 seconds left on the clock. 2 players inside of the smoke trying to protect for Mel coming in. Femboy is there for 3. And buy some safety for the plant.
And this is probably a save now for Shopify Rebellion. They don't have the money to go for this. 200 in the bank for Sarah. And that round just comes down to 2 key moments. The macro for SR was good. Noya walks all the way through, but misses out on that fight. And it's the same exact thing going into the smoke for Mel. Could have been a very different round if any of those kills had went the other way. But thus far in this map, it has been Wada winning out on those 50-50s, making those hero plays in the tight rounds. And now they've won, what, 5 in a row in this second half?
It is still just so shocking what this turnaround has looked like for Wada.
They have more rounds just on this map than they did on the first 2 combined.
Yeah. Literally equal. It is madness. And seeing like individual players start to heat up as well. I mean, Power Pixel was a non-factor in that first map and has been lights out since. It has been very impressive. Even here, diligently.
Juna.
It wasn't just clearing that angle, it was clearing front B. It was spotting out all those potential places Noya could have crept into.
So well done. Second timeout of the half for Shopify. This team did not have to call a single timeout across those first 2 maps. Now, well and truly on the back foot here.
Are there any ideas you can spin up right now to deal with this slow, deliberate style that Wada are sending Shopify's way?
I honestly kind of look to Dodo. If they're investing in another operator, you need to see her getting one of these first picks. I wouldn't hate to see some kind of trap play on B as well. Maybe get someone tucked on the close box. Wada on some of these rounds have been sending a later B lurker that could get punished. But in reality, what most of these rounds are coming down to is super late, like A pivots, where Shopify is having to play into the retake and just losing out on a couple key fights. It's a tough one to figure out. They do have some tools. Viper's Pit in this round. Looks like Sarah's maybe going to pop that one towards B, or hold on to it and set it over towards B, or towards C. I think that makes a little more sense.
Mine's being changed a little bit. There was maybe an orb put down there. It's hard to actually tell on the minimap where that ended up being. With the pit over on C, it would certainly make some sense to put that on that side of the map.
So this is a lot better to start for Shopify. They get full C control with the pit, they get Dodo on a forward line towards A, and now a lot of flexibility on where they position these other 3 players thanks to that info on either extremity.
Do wonder how effective Dodo can be over on Rubble if Wada move back over there. Wada have been pretty consistently using utility, whether that's the fade C's or the deadlock crouch nade to deal with this back Rubble line. That's exactly where Dodo is right now.
I don't see how she could get out, but if she gets an op shot, pops that rocket, there's a world she gets at least 2.
First smoke comes in. Dodo's going to want to This line, and Starbound is waiting for, forget the utility. Maybe that doesn't matter. Starbound's just going to open up the round.
They just contact in. And now it's a scenario I've seen so many times before. SR have no control on A, and Wadada's going to take this space.
Whoa, what is happening? Mel's
no
just
one's
walking
looking.
straight out in front of Astralis. Got in front of that deadlock wall, thought she had an angle some kind of a way. The utility supporting her, but now it's just that disgusting post plant. You've talked about it on previous maps, how effective the double senti can be. It's even worse to play against when there's a deadlock in the mix.
How do you win this round? A Judge on the retake, Astralis on the line, Sonic Sensor's ready to go.
One more sensor.
This one is wrapped.
Oh, did you? Oh, you didn't like our utility? You got past it? Well, we still have an operator. We still have a person named Starbound. Good luck.
Chrissy, this is looking like map 5. Shopify, I think, make a solid decision in how they set up that round. But Dodonut just gets destroyed by Starbound. The best opper in GC loves to take that challenge.
Shopify even used both of their timeouts in this half, and are still trailing, losing the last 6 rounds in a row. They won't have a bye here. They will have some ultimates. But it's starting to get to the point where players are taking initiative. Players are going for some heroics there. Even Mel realizes her team is falling behind, so tries to get this moment to jump out of the smoke, get in front of the deadlock wall, something. But even those plays, which had been working for Shopify, are falling flat now.
Scamper together with one gun in this round. Set up heavy towards B. But of course it's Wadada. Same slow idea we've seen so many rounds before. It's honestly so suffocating playing against this team because when you're down like this, you want to try and call something a little bit more proactive, get someone in a weird angle. But Wadada is just so thorough in every one of these clears.
Yeah, it's honestly pretty similar to how Shopify was playing their first half on attack, right? Getting that checklist done with. Well, I think Wada are even a little bit more aggressive onto some of the angles they try to fight into C. Now throwing this lurk smoke that is not going to fully block off the angle from Noya, but as soon as you make the sound of an Omen teleport or something like this, threats start to open up in the minds of Shopify.
Noya still alone here. It is going to be a late look towards B maybe here. There's quite a few set up for Shopify. This is a solid position for Alexis.
Here goes Femboy into the fray, into the mix of things. Dodonut 2 kills with utility and has now picked up a rifle. Sarah as well has one of her own, and we're down to 30 seconds onto the clock,
30
Mimi.
seconds left.
There's a deadlock wall already placed up, but so many problems as Sarah could throw up this wall herself. The smoke goes down, and Power Pixel is there to find the frag. Now, as Wadada pivot back over into the C site, it would be up to Noya on top of this site with the Sheriff. 12 seconds left. She just needs 1, maybe 2 kills here, and that could be everything, but doesn't connect onto the shot. 5 HP, Mel trying to sprint forward and find something, but the spike will be planted, and it all comes down to the hero rifle. The in-game leader of Shopify Rebellion, Mel, she is out, and Wadada are on map point.
That looked like it was going to be the round, the rubber band for Shopify to come back. So well played by Dodonut, diving in with the nade, the rocket, and now it almost feels like we're repeating history. The last time these teams played, the one map that Wadada won was Lotus. It was with Dodo dropping a massive individual performance, but it did not matter. And it might be the same here again. 7 rounds, 1 in a row. A chance to close out with a clean sweep of the attacking side.
Yep, last chance now for Shopify Rebellion to prevent a map 5 from coming underway. Dodonut out on the angle, and that is pretty. So quick on the reactions to find the first kill.
And that is a rarity. Shopify have not been able to play a member up in quite a few rounds here. Wadada slow things down, try and see if there's someone to punish, but they don't. The difference between the way these teams play on the attack is how early they're getting people in lurk positions. Wadada didn't have a C-lurk they could insta-pivot to. Instead, they're going to have to go back and re-clear practically the entire map.
And you have to play for the lurks now, because think about who died. It's not just Juna who's been having a game. It is your solo smokes with this comp. Makes it much harder to scale into space, especially with the threat of an op online.
Power Pixel goes alone towards C. Just going to put some pressure here. The real finish is going to be back towards the A side of the map. Haunt was just broken, so Shopify keeps players here.
Alexis hears all of it, and that's going to be a seize. Don't think that actually caught anyone. Astralis is up here. Wada are moving towards the A site with no fear, but maybe they should have some. It's 20 seconds on the clock. There are 3 players here swarming in on the planter. Alexis gets the first pivot around for Sarah, and Alexis to get a few more. Power Pixel just has to save. They are nowhere near stopping this defuse.
And that's the Shopify that has been missing since some of the earlier maps of this game on defense. Get an opening kill from your star duelist, then play back into a super clean retake. Nicely played between Alexis, Dodo, holding it down on A. And they finally break that streak. Let it be known, no one wins 8 rounds in a row on the attack side of Lotus against Shopify Rebellion.
Oh boy, but can Shopify string together 4 in a row here? That's going to be the real challenge now. Well, if they can keep finding openers, if they can keep responding and sort of preempting the late round pivots, I think I like their odds. This time the op has moved over towards C, but Wada aren't headed that way, maybe.
No, they aren't. Quick look towards A, but this is all a feint. They're walking up B instead. And for the first time, maybe looking to end there a little bit quicker. Their biggest problem will be Mel's position on Mount. She can instantly rip a Paranoia down that line and completely stall out this execute.
Yeah, open the door, then even you've got options for Dodonut to drop down and take a pot shot or two. Starbound likes their chances creeping into C. Remember, Wada could open the door themselves. Right now, busting it out into that B site. Sarah gets 2 kills, Dodonut as well. It's just a massacre in here with Mel coming through the door. Wrap it up. It's time for the next round.
Great stuff from Mel there. Takes the perfect timing, opening up onto that door, pinches through with her teammate, and the Viper utility from Sarah is enough to keep her safe on that site. Starbound. Ooh. Didn't catch a tag through that box, but in the 1 versus 4, I don't think even they can make something of this.
"30 seconds left."
Such a decisive hold from SR. What Sarah was able to do there, you know, having the molly in hand, immediately spamming through the wall, calling in teammates on the rotate over. It shuts down Wada. Now with 2 rounds lost in a row, it'll be them calling the timeout.
If I'm Shopify here, I'm thinking about how I can contest these orbs. Power Pixel and Astralis are both one off of getting their ult. Those 2 tools, some of the most powerful to just convert a site execute with this comp. If you can get Dodo posted on another forward line, maybe fight space for Mound on the other side, and not allow these orbs to get picked up, you can make this round just a little bit easier for yourself.
Yeah, the outpacing that Wada have on the ultimate. It's not just that they're, you know, one off of getting 2 big ones, but the fact that Shopify Rebellion probably don't get another, like, turbo ult outside of this lockdown. You know, maybe Dodo has a crazy round, but it's not going to be easy.
No. Not a lot of tools for Shopify to work with, and it has to be perfect here on out. Wada, you're thinking you just need 1 round. They've done great work at just getting players into weird positions in this mid-round. They've almost always been able to late take space towards A, late take space towards C, something like that, and make these hits happen. Only the last 2 rounds where Shopify has been getting the opening pick that they've managed to convert. Double op setup for Shopify. Sarah's going to contest
Stealing
towards
a little bit of attack.
Yeah, Dodo's going to contest towards C. They don't want to let these orbs slip, and that's Dodo with an opener. That's a smoke's dead again.
Yeah, that is bad news. And that's just a shot coming in through the smoke, because Juna had put down the smoke on the ground to counter out the one-way, break that angle. So it sort of nullifies this entire timeout. They had some idea of what they want to do in the mid-round. Now you're getting upped over here. Like, it must just be so frustrating for Wada to be on map point and get hit with this.
What a good call from Effys and Mel coming out of that timeout. Desperation towards B now for Wada, but the counter utility's good. They're full stalled again.
By the way, it's because Shopify had so much money. Sarah's actually traded off of the AWP now and has a rifle back in hand. Now there's the numbers advantage.
This is such a gross angle for Dodo to hold. Wada's just praying that someone from Shopify will make a mistake. I don't think they're getting their opportunity.
30 seconds left.
Doesn't quite connect there. Dodo not on 18 HP, but you don't need much more than that if you can get back onto the line with the AWP. Continuing to challenge, and well, if Mel were to fall, that could pose some problems, but I don't think Mel's falling. Not before she gets her too. 13 seconds, time dwindling away. Sarah will close out this round, making OT look certainly possible.
Last round of regulation is going to be the hardest for Shopify's comeback because those ultimates we talked about have now come online. Wada thus far have played a very slow half, contacting in towards A, getting players into the positions they want and figuring out this setup fully before they ever go for an execute. But this round, they have the constant threat of just ripping the Nightfall alongside that deadlock ult and making a faster hit happen.
Another double up setup. Dodonut and Noya this time. Taking that angle over towards A. Early utility, just try and brute force into Mount. Wada aren't going to let them punish on that angle again, but Dodo's in position. This could be everything. Shots don't connect, and now Astralis tries to pick off Dodo. That's going to grab her up. Mel is trying her best to try and save her duelist, but Power Pixel is there with the spam. 3 players rotating. Wada trying to commit into this site. Teleport in, teleport out. Wada are trying to mix it up and get out of dodge.
Every player towards C, but the cancel is called. Still a minute to work with an advantageous position.
Wada can't miss this opportunity. That pit in their stomach after they were on map point 3 rounds in a row. Now with the advantage, getting that for themselves. The position has been revealed. Paranoia waiting in Mel's hands. Still 3 players hanging around this C site. The clock working down. 35 seconds. Paranoia now to stall. That's all the utility. Trying to get into this site used, and Mel is finding 2. Alexis adds up with Sarah. It is time for OT. We're not done yet.
Never count Shopify out. Mel and Alexis, they've only ever lost 1 Game Changers final. It never even goes map 4, map 5. They stomp these finals. And they want to close this one out in 4. They lose 7 in a row and reply with 4 of their own. A beauty of a last round. Playing from a player disadvantage, Mel and Alexis, who else but them, to completely shut down the Seaside execute. And now we go to overtime with Shopify back on attack, and Christy, their attack side was masterful.
It was excellent, and Wada feel that. They remember that. They know that. That anxiety after letting 4 rounds in a row now slip away and having to deal with how Mel calls these rounds. It is a challenge.
Name of the game is shut down the lurkers. Do not let Sarah, do not let Noya get into these late round positions, and Shopify could find the perfect pivot.
Wada are not playing for much forward space at all. Doubled up on the B site for now, using Power Pixel all on their own A, just to play audio info. And 1-3-1 to respond to this mid-round hit.
Alexis posts up front C. And always put a little pressure there as Mel has made it so deep just walking into this site. They could contact all the way into A.
SR's leader taking first contact, getting in the mix, and now Power Pixel is blinded up, naded up. You're not doing anything in a spot like that. Femboy, do they activate before their team gets there? They will.
30 seconds left.
Look at
Waiting
the
for
lurks.
this opportunity as 2 players boost up into heaven. Femboy is in a position that no one is expecting. That is 1. The lurk activates from Noya, but still, there's Femboy down on site. This is the decider for Wada, there to get back in the round. Now, the double omens on both sides, but it's Mel to take that fight. Femboy in a 1-on-2. The early tap, trying to bring players back into them, but now the scout comes on in. There's just too much to deal with. Shopify Rebellion are up to series point.
Who else but Mel
Switching sides.
to win out that round? An incredible call. After threatening these lurks into late pivots every single time, she has her team full contact into A, absolutely decimates Power Pixel, and then sets up a masterful post plant, fighting forward, getting that critical kill, and now pushing Shopify to championship points.
Oh yeah, the grit. Mel sitting on 27-17 after losing 7 rounds in a row just to force overtime. And now, to finish this tournament on map number 4, it'll be Wada going back to their attacking side. And once again, ops in both of our stars players. In their
Dodo
hands.
posts up on B. Wada. Yet again, they play these slow rounds, but they don't leave the same embeds Shopify does. All 5 members grouped towards A.
Alexis isolated. Noya looking for a chance to peek on through. This time Alexis finds her mark. Noya dealt with, but Alexis for 3! Alexis is taking Shopify Rebellion all the way through. It is just 2 sole survivors from Wada, and Alexis is still on the hunt. She sees the blood trails. She's found her mark, and Dodonut will finish it off. Shopify Rebellion, they weren't here for a kickoff, but they remind everyone who the best in Game Changers is.
And it's the first win for Dodonut. She lost every single final to Shopify last year, joins this team